Hi, I'm Dan Smith, and I'm going to teach you how to play Harvest Moon by Neil Young. And this is a really challenging song, even though there's no bar chords in it, but it's got a lot of twists and turns to it. It's a beautiful song, and one that, once you kind of get the hang of it, is really fun to play. And it's definitely good for romantic situations. So if that's what you're going for, then you've come to the right place. So I'm going to play it through once, and there's probably, I'm going to say 3, maybe 4 different sections to it. And one of the things that's kind of cool about this song is there are harmonics in it. So we're going to talk about harmonics for a moment before we delve into the song. So harmonics are this whole netherworld of alternate notes on your guitar neck. And normally you get a note by holding down a string, in between the frets, and you play it and you get a note, right? Pretty straight ahead stuff. But there are certain frets that you can get a different note from, and also a different kind of quality of note. One of those frets is the 12th fret. And what you do, that has like a little bit more of a ringy, ethereal kind of tone to it. What I'm doing is I'm touching the string. I'm not holding it down. I'm touching the string over the front bar of the fret, not in between the frets, but over the front bar. And then I play it, but a split second after I play it, I take my finger away. So one of the things that's really good about this is you can't achieve it by squeezing harder. You have to literally let go. And the 12th fret is definitely the easiest fret to start on. The other frets that are a little more accessible are the 7th fret, the 5th fret, and then the 9th fret. And I'll give you a little tip. If you're having trouble getting tone out of your harmonics, play it closer to your bridge. It brings out the treble frequencies of the note more if you play back by your bridge. If you're playing on an electric guitar, turn on your back pickup, and that will allow it to, you'll cut through a little bit better. The other frets on the guitar, it is absolutely possible to get a harmonic note out of them, but it's definitely more challenging. The 4th fret, the 3rd, you have to really just hit it just right. So those are harmonics. They don't come up that often when it comes to actual songs. Sometimes you get a siren going by. Welcome to New York City. But they're a really nice thing to have in your bag of tricks. Because if you are going for something that's a little ringier, they can be a nice texture to bring in. So those are harmonics. But in terms of the tuning for this song, there is a little bit of an alternate tuning. It's something called drop D tuning. So what that means is if you're in standard tuning, as I already am, you would take your 6th string, which is normally tuned to an E, and you would tune it to a D, which is dropped down. It's dropped down essentially the equivalent of 2 frets. So you can obviously do that by using a tuner. You can get a clip-on tuner like this one. And instead of tuning normally to an E, you could tune to a D. Or you could go old school, like I like to, and play the D string, meaning the 4th string, and compare your 6th string to it, and lower it to an octave below the D string. And you got to really listen to it. You got to play each string, let them ring out. Don't play them too much, right? Don't do this. Just play it once, and then let it ring out. And you'll hear if they're, in sync with each other. And then obviously you can check on your tuner if you need to. So that's drop D tuning. So once you have that in place, then you are ready to play Harvest Moon. So I'm going to demo the whole thing through once, and then we're going to break it down piece by piece. So it goes like this. little bit closer. Hear what I have to say. Like children sleeping, we could dream this night away. There's a full moon rising, let's go dancing in the light. Somewhere there's music playing, let's go out and feel the night. Cause I'm still in love with you, I wanna see you dance again. You know I'm still in love with you on this harvest moon. Okay, so a bunch of different parts here, right? This first part, you're going to be punctuating everything with the very first thing you do in the song, which is your open sixth string, which is a D. But then you're going to take your middle finger, put it on the second string of the 10th fret, your ring finger on the third string of the 11th fret, and you're going to strum just the bottom 4 strings. The reason why you're using these 2 fingers is because you're going to need these 2 outer fingers, your index finger and your pinky, in a second. And then you're going to put your pinky down on the second string of the 12th fret. So it sounds like this. Then you take your pinky off. So it's a series of down-up strums. Down, up, down, up, down, up. So down, up once with your pinky off, once with your pinky on, and then once again with your pinky off. Then you put your index finger down on the first string of the 9th fret. Those are 2 down ups in a row, right? Down, up, down, up. That whole sequence, we'll call that section 1, is a D major 7th with a few bells and whistles. There's a 6th in there, that's a B, but you don't really need to know that, just go for the sound. You do that twice. So think of that as your intro, and then the next thing you're going to do is the infamous harmonic. So what do? You're going to play a harmonic on the first string of the 12th fret, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, right? You got to do it all in rapid succession like that. Bum, 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 bum. I would recommend you use your ring finger because you're going to need your index finger in a second here to play the 5th string harmonic on the 7th fret. Bum, 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 bum. And for me, I have to kind of think of that as all one movement, right? Especially the second 2 notes on the 12th fret and the note on the 7th fret. So it's like, bum, bum, bum. And I'll give you a little tip. Make sure you're looking at the 7th fret. Don't look at the 12th fret. Look at the 7th fret, because then you're going to know where you're headed, right? So just working on that is a very, that can be very challenging, right? Especially if you want to be able to do it on the fly. But then from there, you go to E minor, which is technically E minor with a D bass, right? Because you got this low D here. Now that's where the vocal comes in. Come a little bit closer, and then you go back up here. Hear what I have to say, and then you go back to your open D, and you go back to your D major 7th riff. You do it twice. Then you go back to your harmonic riff. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th string on the 7th fret, E minor, like children sleeping, harmonic riff. We could dream, E minor this night away, back to the D major 7th riff, which you do twice. You basically do everything twice in this song. So that's the first section. We'll call that the verse. Then you're going to go to this chord. This is an interesting chord, which is technically not a chord. This is a G5. What does that mean? That means that you're basically playing a chord that only has 2 notes in it. Now I know what you're thinking, but Dan, you're playing 6 strings. How can you only be playing 2 notes? Because these are all G's and D's. It's only made up of 2 notes. And in order for a chord to technically be considered a chord, it needs to have at least 3 different notes in it. What would you call this? You'd probably call it a dyad, but nobody says that unless you're like a chord nerd. But, so anyway, you're playing all 6 strings. Now what am I doing? I'm holding down the 1st and 2nd strings on the 3rd fret with my index finger, and then I'm reaching up with my ring finger and pinky to the 6th string and 5th string on the 5th fret, making sure that the 4th and 3rd strings are open. So you get this big, full, ringy sound, a lot of 5ths in there. There's a full moon rising. Here's where it gets a little tricky. There's a full moon rising. Let's go out and feel the night. You're going to go to a D. This is we'll call that the bridge, the G part there. We'll call this the 3rd section, I guess. D. But then you're going to switch to a D major 7th, which means you bar the bottom 3 strings. But then you shift to an A, and then you keep your index finger down for an A, right, on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. But then you put your ring finger on the 4th string of the 4th fret. So it's that's a little quick, very subtle, and not so easy sequence. So it's D, 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 D. Up strum on the D major 7th, up strum on the A, and then down strum on A with your ring finger on the 4th string of the 4th fret. That's actually, we'll call that an A6th. So listen to that again. So actually that A6th I do on an up-down up strum, right? Actually, I like to punctuate it with my old friend, my open D string, right? That kind of creates a drone feeling over the whole chord. But then you go back to your G5, you do it a 2nd time. 'Cause there's a full moon rising. Let's go out and feel the night. Then this takes you to the chorus, which starts on an A suspended 7th. That means you're going to put your index finger on the 4th string of the 2nd fret, your ring finger on the 2nd string of the 3rd fret, and you play the bottom 5 strings. As I'm still in love with, and on the word you take off your ring finger, put your middle finger down on the 2nd string of the 2nd fret. This becomes an A7th. You, I want to see you dance. And on the word again, of again, you go back to A suspended 7th. 'Cause I'm still in love with you. You go back to A7. You let that hang for 4 beats. On this harvest moon. Guess what you play? You play your open D string. And then your D major 7th chord riff thing that you started out with. So a lot of sections there. And to be clear, this is a song that can be done many different ways. In fact, I've seen Neil Young do it with the same elements but in different orders. So sometimes he'll actually start with this thing. And then do this riff up here, higher up on the neck, a little later in the song. So you can experiment, mix and match, see what you like. This is how I like to do it. I like to lead with the flashy riff. But in general, I would say this is a great song to do with just one guitar because it totally holds up and it sounds like the song right away.